Okay, hi guys. I am going to I'm gonna record this video, and I'm sitting in my car because but I am outside of the house. I'm watching the kids today, and they're playing in the backyard, and I'm keeping an eye on them. They will probably interrupt me. You know how kids are; they like to bounce in and out. So anyway, if you see me talking to them or leaning over looking to see, make sure they're not leaving the backyard. That's what I'm doing, okay? Anyway, real quickly, or at least I'm going to try to keep this one quick. I wanted to talk about something you'll hear. You might have heard people use this term before. It's called a trauma bond, okay? And you might have heard this, and you may or may not know what that is. I mean, I think that most people these days, they probably do know what a trauma bond is. But, you know, in case you don't know, it's a good idea, you know, to kind of understand what a trauma bond is. Because trauma bonding is something that can happen between couples of any kind. You know, like it could happen between friends. It can happen between couples. You know, it can happen in families. You know, it can happen between any two people or groups of people, right? And it's called a trauma bond. So the simplest explanation of that or example that I can give to you of a trauma bond is kind of, for example, everybody who lost somebody on 9/11, every person who actually lost somebody on 9/11 that day, who can relate to that, and in New York, you know what happened, you know, and how everybody banded together, and basically at that moment in time and continued on, those people were what we call trauma bonded together. They all experienced a trauma, something that was very traumatic in their life, and they were bonded together by this experience, by this traumatic experience, right? So it's called trauma bond, okay? But there's all different types of trauma bonding and, you know, levels of trauma bonding and whatnot, okay? So I'm going to just kind of read, you know, what it is, so that way you know what it is, and kind of, you know, you can be reflective in your life and just understand, and in case it's something that you have experienced or you may experience, and you know what it is, okay? All right, so a trauma bond is an unhealthy emotional attachment that forms between victim and their abuser, often characterized by cycles of abuse and positive reinforcement, making it difficult for the victim to leave despite harm. So AI is giving us the definition of a trauma bond in a relationship. Okay, specifically in a relationship, in more or less, you know, can be, they're really giving the definition of in like an abusive relationship or an emotional, mentally abusive type of relationship. That's the definition that it's giving here. There's a couple different, like I said, there's a couple different variations of this definition, but I got you guys drinks on the back patio. I had already, that's fine, you can have those too, but I already made y'all drinks on the back patio. Huh? I made y'all drinks on the back patio. Okay, let's go. You can have those too. You can have those too.
Patios?
That on the back patio, yeah.
Where's it go?
Go look.
You know where the back patio is.
Go. Go look on the porch. Silly boy. Okay. Next time you need to ask me now. You had already a lot of snacks today. You had chicken and rice and bananas and grapes and what? Oh my gosh, this is, why is it so hard? Hold on.
I know how to open it. I know how to open
Okay, I got it. Oh my gosh. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Wait,
I'm watching you. I'm keeping an eye on you guys. Okay. Okay, so anyway. Yes, baby.
what happened?
Exactly what Robbie told you. Exactly what Robbie told you. Okay, anyway, so I'm just reading this straight out. I'm just reading it, okay? It says, here's a more detailed explanation. An unhealthy attachment. Trauma bonds are characterized by an intense emotional attachment to someone who causes harm, whether emotional, physical, or sexual. Okay, abuse cycle. The bond often develops within a cycle of abuse where the abuser alternates between periods of abuse and periods of affection, creating a false sense of safety and making it difficult for the victim to leave. Okay, and power imbalance. Okay, y'all. I'm sorry, the phone cut off because my phone overheated, first of all, and then the boys needed attending to, and anyway, so we had to do a quick snack break and, drinks and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I should have got my sunglasses out of the car, but here we are. Okay, so I'm going to just try to finish this information up. I'm going to spice these video pieces together and just, so at least I did one video today, okay? All right, so I'm going to finish just reading about what is a trauma bond. Okay, so I can get back to it. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, here it is. Give me 1 second, I'm trying to get to it. Hold on, guys. Okay. Goodness gracious, my phone is I'm doing this with one hand too because, I'm holding the phone because my thing is in the car and it's going to go overheat. So anyway, I had to click on it. I was doing a one-hander. Okay. Look, see, I'm just keeping an eye on the boys. Okay. All right. So in any case, we talked about, I was reading through it. It says, okay, power imbalance. That's where I left off at. Okay. Trauma bond often occur in relationships where there is a power imbalance with the abuser wielding significant control over the victim. Not limited to romantic relationships. While often associated with romantic relationships, trauma bonds can also develop in other contexts such as family dynamics or workplace situations. Example, feeling conflicted about the relationship. Okay, examples, it says examples of trauma bond signs. Okay, these are trauma bond signs. Okay, feeling conflicted about the relationship, defending or making excuses for the abuser's behavior, feeling obligated to stay due to shared trauma or difficult experiences, feeling guilty or afraid of how the abuser will react if boundaries are set, not wanting to leave the relationship despite being aware of harm, okay, covering up true feelings or opinions to others and the abuser, desiring to help the abuser even if the relationship is over, incessantly thinking about the abuser even if the relationship is over. Okay. So let's see. Trauma bonds, also known as Stockholm Syndrome, is a deep emotional attachment that can form between an abuser and their victim. It's a result of abusive relationships, clinical pattern where abuse is followed by affection or promises of change. The victim may feel a connection or true love, even though the relationship is harmful. The bond can last from days to years. A trauma bond is a very serious situation, for real, okay? Now it says, what is a trauma bonded relationship? I'm going to just read these different answers, okay? It says a trauma bonded relationship describes a situation where a victim of abuse develops strong, often confused emotional attachment to their abuser despite the harmful nature of the relationship, often due to cycles of abuse and intermittent reinforcement. Okay, what are the 7 stages of, hold on. It says, what are the 7 stages of trauma bond? Don't go too far. Come back. Where's your brother? Where's your brother? Okay. Okay, guys. I'm gonna get through this. Okay. Let me see if I can finish reading this, okay? All right, let me see. Where did it go? Oh, what are the 7 stages of the trauma bond? Okay, the stages of trauma bonding. Love bonding, or love bombing. Oh, Lord. We talked about that already before in some other videos. You know, we already talked about that. Love bombing, trust and dependency, shift to criticism and devaluation, manipulating and gaslighting, resignation and giving up, loss of sense of self, emotional addiction. We've talked about, or I have talked about in a bunch of videos already on a lot of this stuff right here. This gaslighting and love bombing, manipulation, and oh no, we're not doing that, okay? You know why we're all not doing that? If you're watching this video, we're not doing that because now we have knowledge, right? Now that we have knowledge of what's actually going on. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that these people know what they're doing when they're doing this. But maybe they don't know. But don't matter. These are the stages. So if you recognize these stages in your relationship, I should have got my sunglasses. Then you can go ahead and just be aware. Okay? So that's the whole point. The whole point is for you to be aware and for you to know what's happening. My hair is going to look like a hot mess with this wind blowing around, okay? Okay, anyway. Okay, look, I'm gonna finish reading. This is what I'm doing. Okay. You have to go potty? Okay, then. Go ahead. We're going in like 5 minutes, okay? Okay, I'm just keeping an eye on the boys. Okay, it says, how long do trauma bonds last? Okay. Trauma bonds can last from days to years, depending on the individual, the severity of the abuse, and their willingness to heal, with professional help significantly aiding the healing process. It says there's no set time. How do you heal a trauma bond? Educate yourself, understand what a trauma bond, and recognize the signs of abuse and relationship. Establish set boundaries, enforce clear boundaries with the abuser, limit your contact, minimize or cut off contact with the abuser. Okay, what is trauma dumping? I'm going through the list. I'm just literally just going through this list that they have, on AI. Let's see. Okay, what is trauma dumping? Is sharing traumatic experiences or emotional distress with others in an inappropriate or overwhelming way, often without considering the listener's feelings or boundaries. Okay, it involves oversharing of difficult or initiates personal information without the other person's consent or during inappropriate times, often without considering your words' impact on the listener. Why is it problematic? Trauma dumping can be emotionally draining for the listener and can be seen as manipulative or abusive.
And what are you doing, Nina?
Okay, I'm sharing on my video.
Oh.
Okay. We have to go inside and get bath time. Okay, you got 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes.
Wait,
Okay. Yeah, because we gotta go take a bath. I'm gonna let them take advantage of this time that we have outside right now. You know, because it's nice weather, even though the pollen is in the air. We're all gonna need take allergy medicine tonight and stuff. Okay. Anyway, it's problematic. Trauma dumping can be emotionally draining for the listener and can be seen as manipulative or abusive, especially if it's done without regard for the other person's well-being. Okay. So anyway, that's trauma dumping. I want to go back. I want to read the next question. What does a trauma response look like? Trauma responses stemming from the body stress response can manifest as physical, like hypervigilance, fatigue, headaches, or emotional, like irritability, anger, difficulty trusting. Reactions often categorized as fight or flight, freeze or fawn. Here are a more detailed breakdown of common trauma responses. Hypervigilance, feeling constantly on edge or alert for danger and easily startled. Fatigue and exhaustion, feeling tired even after adequate sleep, with low energy and difficulty completing tasks. Sleep disturbances, difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or experiencing nightmares. Physical pain and discomfort, experiencing headaches, stomach pain, nausea, or other physical sensations. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, my hair looks like hummus. Increased heart rate and sweating. A racing heart and excessive sweating in response to triggers. Okay, so these are all like physical symptoms of what we call trauma responses to, let's say, sometimes the reason why this is important to know is this trauma response is actually totally fine and normal when you are experiencing trauma. But maybe it has creeped up on you and you don't realize that you are experiencing trauma. Or maybe you are stop, dropping, and rolling and having a trauma response to something that shouldn't be traumatic. Like, let's say somebody, just has a conversation with you, or maybe for no apparent reason at all, you just have a trauma response and just start having these symptoms for no real reason. Maybe you don't have any real reason at all. Maybe the person said something to you like, do you like this dress? And they just sent you a picture of a dress on, that they like or something. Maybe they found a picture they liked on Amazon or something, and you start having a trauma response. Okay? And it could be something as dumb as that. Like, okay, those are different things that sometimes people will overreact. Right? Okay? Now, it says emotional symptoms: irritability and anger, feeling easily agitated, short-tempered, or experiencing outbursts of anger. Okay? Difficulty trusting others, struggling to form and maintain healthy relationships, feeling wary of others. Emotional numbness or detachment, feeling disconnected from emotions or reality, experiencing a lack of feeling. Anxiety and panic, experiencing intense anxiety or panic attacks, often triggered by reminders of trauma. Intrusive thoughts and memories, experiencing unwanted flashbacks, nightmares, or intrusive thoughts related to trauma. People call it that. A lot of times people say PTSD. Okay. It's like a PTSD response. Okay. Avoidance, avoiding places, people, or situations that remind you of the trauma. Difficulty concentrating, struggling to focus, remembering details, or make decisions. Difficulty concentrating. Mood swings, experiencing rapid and unpredictable shifts in mood. Lack of motivation, feeling a lack of interest in activities or general sense of being stuck. Okay? So if you are having any of these types of things, right, whether it's physical or emotional, these are different trauma responses. You might actually be experiencing trauma in your relationship or to something, whether it be warranted or not. If it's not actually warranted and you're reacting in one of these ways, then you, my friend, have some sort of PTSD and probably need to seek counseling or get some real psychological help, psychotherapy, okay? Especially if you have if you're having these types of responses to something like, you know, do you like this dress? Do you like this picture? You know, or good night, honey, or something like that. Okay, like a nothing burger, like a nothing burger thing that somebody says to you, and you might overreact or overrespond, or your body starts having some of these symptoms. That is called PTSD. Okay. Now, if you are in an actual relationship where you are trauma bonded to somebody, other things that cause trauma bonding, right? In relationships, though, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's unhealthy, but different trials and tribulations that you go through can also bring you closer to somebody. But like, let's say, for example, you are married or whatever, and you're in a relationship, and you and your wife, you know, get pregnant and you have a miscarriage. That is very traumatic. That can be extremely traumatic for women and very traumatic for the family, okay? And it's traumatic, right? And you are now trauma bonded with that person, you know, especially for a while. Let's say that person, that woman, or whatever, you know, I'm assuming, or let's just assume that you like this person or whatever, like you love her or whatever, right? And she continues to feel something traumatic or whatever, but she starts using the experience as a way to manipulate you. Like, you can't leave me and go to work because I'm here crying inside. Now, there might be an initial time that is actually called for to stay and mourn and whatnot, right? But let's say she starts using it as a form of manipulation to control you, your time, where you're going, what you're doing, whatever. You always leave me. You were going to leave me and the baby. Or, you know, people come up with all kinds of things. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but because you guys were trauma bonded together because it was something traumatic that you both experienced, okay, and instead of it being something that kind of just brought you together and made you stronger, that person may now use it as a tool against you, manipulation tool, okay, because of the trauma bond that you experienced. So that is an example of a trauma bond in relationships. Anyway, okay, so this is long enough. Okay, I was trying to get the videos anyway to like, what, 10 minutes or, you know, or less. And I'm gonna have to spice this together anyway. And so anyway, yeah, sorry for all the noise and everything. I'm on mommy duty this week. We have to go get in bath now, bath time and bedtime and everything else. So bye.